So we have cash out again. We hope that you did enjoy Johnny Hughes with Johnny's Bite, and you can get the latest upload of the content on the socials of 3FM 92.7. As always, for those of you who are joining us from all parts of the world, we're grateful. And let me just say good morning to you by encouraging you as you join us on our stream to make sure that when you join us, you are in a great position with joy to share our stream so that we have a nice conversation. And as always, we're encouraging you that as you join us, *439# should be your short code, because it is where when we do the draw for cash out, you get to choose TB3 and increase your chances of winning for each of the draws. And subsequently, you also get to have money credited into your mobile money account. For all of you who have joined us, please share the stream. Very important for us. We'll tell you about what we'll be doing. Henry Kofodia. So Prince Henry has already joined us. Sherry Giovanni already supplying me with the name of Abuga Pele, and a member of parliament at the time of China Paga, subsequently became boss of the YEA. When we're talking in relation to someone who will be president and could be in a position to jail his own people, and based on what John Dramani Mahama had been saying on Saturday. Good morning, Samuel Abuchi, and then also Nelson Akotia. Good morning, Ebo Chemenu. Good morning to you. And for those of you who also will be joining later, make sure you share the stream. Money, new money. Good morning to you. Today, we're here to talk about a number of things. For the second part, there is a scandal that has become the subject of an allegation for which even the Office of the Special Prosecutor has taken a petition from the Member of Parliament for North Tone, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, and it's about a company giving a $34.9 million spare parts contract to supply for the ambulances that are in circulation currently, managed by the National Ambulance Service, a company that, based on what has been alleged by the Member of Parliament, is linked to the daughter of the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and subsequently we'll be talking about that. But first, we'll be looking at what those promises and the utterances being made by the presidential candidate of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, during the launch on Saturday in Tamale of the NDC's campaign for the 2024 general elections. And what do you make of it yourself? Please let us know what you think. And let me say good morning to a couple of people who have joined us. Chairman Prosper, you say you were in Tamale. Chairman Prosper, good morning to you. And for all those of you, Nana Gazor, good morning to you. I'm already having some great relations with you already. Evans Inkum, he's Northern Bureau Chief for Command, our Ashanti Region Bureau, says the sister is celebrating the birthday. Betty Evans Inkum of MTN, great morning to you. And then also we have from Ghana Gas, Gaiji, wishing Prisla Owusu, aka Peace Hag at Ghana Gas. Good morning. Now, let me just introduce Eduji Tamaklo, who is here. Eduji, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You were in Tamale.
And, good morning to your cherished viewers, online and at home.
Yeah, certainly. I was watching you on, is it Radio Tamale?
Yes, I did Radio Tamale on Friday.
Okay. Hey, it means you went there early.
Yes, and I need to say good morning to the host of the show.
Certainly. I will also be joined by Yao Boabin Asamoah, who was a former member of parliament for Adentan, and then also director of communications for the ruling party, but now with the Movement for Change, who will be joining us as well. We'll have some great conversation. On phone, we'll be having one of the leading members of the MPP, Dr. Amwakoba. But look, let's begin with some of the insights straight away of John Dramani Mahama at that campaign launch.
This government is living in an illusion. They are living in a dream world. They are living in a fantasy world. Because if you are not living in an illusion, when people are hungry, how can you tell them they are satisfied? Puma and the Nyale. And the Nyale, Kakum Malma, Kakanti Yelmana, and Teria. Then We can feel the pangs of hunger, and yet this government tells us we are satisfied, and that never in Akufo-Addo's government have people gone hungry. Meanwhile, the statistics clearly show that 8 million of our citizens last year in 2023 went 24 hours without food because they couldn't afford to buy food. Meanwhile, the statistics tell us that almost 2 million of our young people are sitting at home. They are not in school, they are not in education, they are not in training, and they are not in employment. They are just sitting at home idle. And most of them are still living in their parents' houses because they don't have an income to be able to start a life of their own. The statistics tell us that unemployment has risen from just above 8% in 2016 to 14.7%. And yet, they say things have never been this better. And they have the audacity to compare themselves to our first president, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. How can you compare this useless government that has led Ghana into such crisis to the government of Kwame Nkrumah?
Anaduji, very strong words there. Well, for many connoisseurs, it also indicates how serious he takes this campaign and how he thinks the economy is. What was the mood there, but specifically on the policy that were itemized by him? What do you make of them?
Roland, so once again, good morning. I want to start, first of all, by thanking the Almighty God for giving us a perfect platform, a perfect weather for the launch of the campaign. And also thank the good people of Tamale, the chiefs and people of Tamale, and the northern part of this country for the great honor done the NDC. They were at the campaign launch in their numbers. It's also important that I say this. The local organizing committee, remember that H.E. John Dramani Mahama was on Tuesday for the fundraising in Northern Region. But within the space of 5 days, they were able to pull out this campaign launch, and they did it so beautiful. The regional organizer, the regional communication officer, the youth organizer, the regional chairman, Chairman Adolf, and the excellent work they have to do. Much more, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and all the people who helped, particularly Professor Joshua Labi and his team, in putting this particular program out. It was beautiful. Now, if you look and observe each speaker and the thematic areas, remember that you have the northern regions, now 5, a rep from each one of them speaking, mostly in the local dialect, so that whatever message is it can resonate with the rank and file in those communities. So that was wonderfully done. Above all, I need to thank you, the media. The massive coverage that you gave on that day. It was beautifully, beautifully, beautifully done. Ro, I visited a community called Jison Naili to do community engagement.
As part of your visit?
Yes, as part of my visit.
Even before the launch?
Yes,
okay.
On the Friday night, and it was beautiful. And they promised that since 1992, they have always had 7 polling stations. The NDC had always won. This time around, they want to increase the numbers by going out to do voter education. You know, I just found out that in the 2020 election, the political party that had the 3rd highest vote is Sport Ballot Political Party. So this time around, we want to ensure that we remove the incident of sport ballot. That said, if you look at H.E. John Dramani Mahama's message, it's a very simple one. That we have gotten to the point where we entrusted the destiny of a beautiful country, Ghana, into the hands of a clueless, wasteful, corrupt bunch of people who have gotten so much resources but have destroyed this country. Today, the accountability institutions are effectively gone. And from the message H. John Dramani Mahama gave, beyond the 24-hour economy policy proposal, is the fact that targeted, for instance, for students, we are going to ensure, particularly those in the training colleges, that the licensure exam will completely be abolished. We do not say, I went to the law school. At the law school, you write your papers. Once you pass, you become a lawyer. You don't finish and go and write a separate licensure exam. You cannot tell me that I'm not an excellent lawyer, or the lawyers that have been trained through that process. So the NDC proposal is that all the pre-qualification matters should be undertaken at the various colleges of education.
So within the period of...
Within the period. And in fact, they do...
Of undertaking whether your degree or diploma.
They do 48 courses, and you can add it to it, so that once the person passes, he passes, without going through this obnoxious licential exam. Key is the fact that today, everyone that you speak to, ranked number 1 is the economy, 2, jobs, then education, health, infrastructure development, among others. And so the campaign launch, what H. John Dramani Mahama is assuring the good people of this country is a very simple thing. I will be a prudent manager of your resources. And by so doing, develop this economy to provide basic household items. Today, my brother, the price of basic household items have jumped the roof, and there is no end in sight. John Mahama says that will come to an end. 2, everything is linked effectively to the depreciation of the city. All you need is a competent team of people that will bring this city that does not respect the IGP, that even when it is locked, it will, come out of jail, will be arrested, and ensure that a stable Ghana city will mean that the fuel you buy at the pump will become cheaper relatively. 2 is the fact that, look, as we speak, right, our women, particularly our women, all our population census show that women are the largest in terms of the household, in terms of our population dynamics. And of this large women population, capital formation is difficult for them because mostly family properties are not kept in the name of women. They are kept in the name of the head of family, that is the man. And so when a woman entrepreneur, a woman who is doing something for herself, decide to go for capital or approach the banks or whatever for capital, the basic issue of collateral becomes a great burden for them because the owners of the collateral tend to be men. So upon research, the NDC had decided to come up with a specialized, development bank, the National Women Development Bank. And the whole idea is that it will be a bank tailored to meet the unique characteristic of women entrepreneurs, so that the issue of collateral will be completely minimized. And the promise is that if you are going for a facility that is less than 5,000 Ghana cedis, it will be interest-free. And we are saying that when you do that, an empowerment of the women population is an empowerment of Ghana. It's like empowering the whole household. Because oftentimes, when the father gives the chop money, maybe at the beginning of the month, he says you're on your own. But when you have an empowered mother, an empowered woman, what you are basically doing is to empower the entire household. And so that is going to be key on the agenda.
How's that going to be done, especially the Women's Development Bank, within, even though not going to be operated like a normal commercial bank, within the structure of meeting the various threshold or indicators? For example, making sure non-performing loans are within the threshold of what the rules are within the Bank of Ghana Act, etc.
The interesting thing is that women, when they borrow, they are more focused. They are more focused. So when a woman goes to take a facility, they are more focused to repay. Men tend to have many things on their table. And so, once you give a woman that kind of money or monetary support to grow their business, they are more focused on the business that at the end of the day, you are most likely going to get the dividend on what you have given to them, which is very, very key. Yes.
Okay. Well, so we'll go on to look at some other policy propositions, but we also have on the street a leading member of the MPP as well, one time contested for chairmanship of the MPP as well, very astute political scientist based in Kumasi, KNUST. He's a regular on the show as well as other shows on the channel. The distinguished Dr. Mwakuba. Good morning to you, Dr. Mwakuba.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good day.
Well, and as you listen to...
Good morning to him.
John Dramani Mahama as well, and then also you look at what the indicators are of the economy and what is confronting Ghanaians in the run-up to this election. What do you make of his policy propositions, but also the general policy propositions across the political landscape in the run-up to this election?
Well, I'm happy for him.
Okay.
They should not think it's a cakewalk. They should work hard, finish hard. Because, as Untimi said, there are 1,000 ways of winning election. But I'll say there are only two. The ballot and Sawam, you understand? So work hard and stop them from any shenanigans or cheating. That's what your job is. And that way, you'll win. I like some of the things I heard yesterday, not all of them, and some can be amended a little bit to be better. My friend was just speaking about women empowerment, something bank. Please. This is not a normal situation we used to have. When you are coming into office, you have to give promises before people vote for you. The promise will turn into a noose around your neck. Therefore, there is no money. And just remember that. Don't ever forget that there is no money. So don't come out to one village, one time, this, and that. That is gone. We don't want any more of that. We want practical solutions to real problems. So instead of you going to open a bank, whatever, come up with a system where the government will help women who meet certain qualifications go to commercial banks. Give the money to get that seed money, put it in commercial bank, only of the banks. And then if he qualifies, and then you give him the money, not too much. But it's not interest-free. This language must be removed from our vocabulary. Free. No, not free. You are going to do business. If I give your money to you for free, yes, of course you will succeed. All you have to do is sit there at the end of it, give my money back. Right? So that is no brainer. They're charging 10%. The banks are charging 30%. So if you pay 10%, it's okay. If you are doing business in Ghana, you cannot pay interest of 10%. You shouldn't be doing business. This will force you to focus. You already said they are focused. I agree. Women don't like debt, so they are afraid of it. So as soon as they can, they will pay their debt off. That's how it is. But we should not bring back this idea of government will do everything for you. No, we should win them off. You should compete. You should pay interest. Because who is supposed to pay? If you don't pay, the other person is paying. It means it is the taxi driver who is giving the women free money. Somebody has to pay. So this idea of no interest, no. Charge them, but not too much. 10% is okay. Right? And they should look at these things. Please, forget the past records of political parties. And I will appeal to Mahama not to listen to all the partisans and this and that, the goodies that we want to give them. There is no money. In fact, I wish I could meet him and tell him that. My word is, there is no money. I'm speaking for the country. I'm not talking about party this and party that.
Okay.
There is no money. You have to fix this country. You saw this minister crying on TV. Said we have to rescue this country, inshallah. He was crying. That is the person allowed to speak. The one who speaks for his country and cry is the one who has the country at heart. Not just talking and giving goodies. I've forgotten his name.
Who is it? Is it Mustafa?
That's him.
Mustafa
Is
Hamid.
the one I'm talking about. Yes, that's
Oh,
what I'm talking about. And please,
you are talking about when
matter.
you are talking about when he was in opposition, and then he said, "Wallahi,
rescue this country.
We'll rescue this country." Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know if it's recent or old one, but I took it as recent. You see, that he's talking about his own party and it's not going well. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it's an old one.
Okay.
Right?
I think the point you make there that seems to resonate with all political scientists like yourself, apart from just being politicians, is the fact that we need to be austere in the promises that we make. Generally, if you take a look at the promises being made across board, how do you think that the political leaders, including John Dramani Mahama, and then also Alan Chermanting and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the head of the economic management team, and also the vice president, and also the presidential candidate of the ruling MPP, need to be very much measured in what they tell Ghanaians in terms of what they can give, whether it's credit score, substituted phone supplies, etc.
Well, talking to the others, I will not waste my time too much. Some of the leaders are good. Alan is good. We have to look at those who have the possibility to win, not just anybody. Alan, Mr. Mahama. I will not talk about Bawumia because he's promising to give young people telephones. This is not good. You have brought the thing to ground, and now you're going to give them a telephone to talk about it. What? No. Give us real solutions, not promises, empty promises. You give a telephone, how much is a smartphone? Or is it a dumb phone that is going to give to them? 600 CDs. And you tell the child that you should pay for 2 months a month, 2 CDs a month. How long will it take to pay such a phone? Is there any interest on it?
Okay.
It's a fair policy to start with. That's it. Just promises, more promises.
Okay.
We don't want any more promises.
All right.
Fix the problems.
Okay, just be on the phone lines for you. We understand that you have some difficulty with power, so that's why you're joining us on phone. So just bear with us and be on the phone. Now, Eduji, the subsequent promises will be brought up for scrutiny or will be subjected to scrutiny. And Dr. Richard Amwakoban says, great promises, but it has to be put in a measured form, knowing the state of our economy and our money matters.
I perfectly associate with the respected doctor when he admonishes that looking at the current health of the economy, it's important that whatever campaign promises that are made within the necessary fiscal space. I think that is extremely welcoming, and I want to respect him for that proposition. But I always make the point that are we really poor, or the people who are in charge of the economy are poor managers? This economy, if you look at the financial resources, and I want to submit to the respected professor and our viewers that no government had gotten more financial resources than the Akufo-Addo administration. Over 932 billion Ghana cedis, the dollar equivalent of $132 billion in the space of 7 years, 7 months. What the problem is the associated inflated cost of projects. Look, under H.E. John Dramani Mahama, a kilometer of road could not cost beyond 1.5 million Ghana cedis. Today, a kilometer is beyond the roof. So the bulk of the money is going into inflated projects and wasteful expenditure. I mean, what in God's name would encourage a president to be flying luxurious private jets when he had a jet that he could use and travel to Uganda for the inauguration of Yoweri Museveni for 6 hours, but cannot use the same jet to London for 6 hours? It's all because of Akufo-Addo wanted to live like an Arabian king. I believe that if we put the necessary structures in place, setting up a development bank for women and looking at the ripple effect when you empower a woman, it is better than flying luxurious jets. So enough savings out there. Look, I kid you not. Do you know that the special report, audit report on the expenditure on COVID-19 shows, and I want to submit this to Dr. Mwakoba, 500 billion Ghana cedis was spent outside GIFMIS. The Ministry of Finance, under the Public Financial Management Act, owns the GIFMIS infrastructure or platform. What will cause a finance minister to spend 500 million Ghana cedis outside GIFMIS? He wants to avoid accountability. He wants to avoid transparency. He wants to avoid tracing. That is why. And I'm saying that if we are able to put all these small monies together, Dr. Mwakuba, H.E. John Dramani Mahama will have the capacity to establish this bank that will empower. And when we say a women development bank, we are talking about a women development bank. You are not going to have the structure like Agri Development Bank that eventually will turn into doing everything and everything. No. This is going to be a specialized bank for women and for women. Nothing more, nothing else. No dilution of his mandate whatsoever. And then the other key focus is the agri sector. Look, today, the Akufo-Addo administration has spent over 2 billion Ghana cedis on planting for food and jobs. Now, it has turned out that it was not planting for food and jobs, but planting for suffering and joblessness.
How so?
2 billion spent. And today, the price of basic food items are twice higher when there was no such intervention. What an intervention does is to make the food bountiful and to reduce the price. You have invested so-called 2 billion into a scheme. Now, it turns out that 2 billion that you spent is now producing higher food prices. It doesn't make sense. All because even the fertilizers that were purchased under the planting for food and jobs were diverted. So again, corruption. If you read the Auditor General's report, specifically on major state agencies, the loss is huge. So it is not an issue of lack of money, but what the current managers of the economy have done. Look, just yesterday, the Honorable Kweku Kwarteng put out a piece in the public domain. And in that piece...
You mean his write-up?
Yeah, his write-up. He says, effectively, the government of Akufo-Addo Bawumia have turned this country into a Ponzi scheme. And what they have done is to manage the economy as though it is a Ponzi scheme. I have never heard such a brutal rebuke of an administration by one of his own like that. And do you know why Kweku Kwarteng makes the claim of Ponzi scheme? By 2017, Akufo-Addo, Kenoforiata, and Bawumia went for 2.25 billion from Franklin Templeton. Within the space of 5 years, Eurobond alone, they took $13 billion worth of, bonds. If you isolate the Franklin Templeton bond, Eurobond alone was $11 billion. Now, when the time came for them to pay, do you know what they said? They do not have the capacity to repay. That is a Ponzi. That is a Ponzi. And that is why I have said that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration is nothing different from the model NAM1 was using. So if the current managers, Akufo-Addo Bawumia, had done anything different, unique, compared to what NAM1 is doing, ordinarily, and so I've always wanted the moral authority by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia to even prosecute NAM1. Because what they have done to investors is the same as the NAM1 model. Do you know that bondholders, persons who bought security, government security, have lost 61 billion Ghana cedis of their investment, both interest payment and principal payment.
And most of them are still protesting after today.
Absolutely. That is a Ponzi. Do you know that this government went and informed Eurobond purchasers that, oh, they should come and buy our bonds? And that when they buy, you know what? Yes. And when they buy, you know what they'll do? We'll be producing 500,000 barrels of crude. And so we have the capacity to pay. People purchase our bonds. Then government now tells them that when we told you that we'll be producing 500,000 barrels of crude, it was a lie.
Okay,
we can't do that.
Let me go to...
And that is what has led to the domestic debt exchange program and the difficulties associated with the Ghanaian economy. So never trust a promise coming from Dr. Mahmoud. Is it not surprising? 30 seconds. Is it not surprising that at the time young men are asking for job, decent job, he's promising them mobile phones?
He said it's through a credit scoring system. And you know the credit scoring system.
I beg you. Before you score somebody's credibility, that is why it is called a credit score. The credibility is founded on his ability to repay. So all over the world, even before a credit card is given to you, they will assess your job, how much you have, your capacity, your earning. Now the person doesn't have job. You are giving him mobile phone and expecting him to pay with a song. That is why we are saying that the Bamia experiment is a terrible experiment that you cannot leave the experienced driver, John Dramani Mahama, for an irresponsible, discredited driver's mate. You cannot do that.
Dr. Makuba. Dr. Makuba, you still on the line?
Yes, I'm here. Go ahead.
I don't know whether you've come across the piece written by the former Deputy Finance Minister, Member of Parliament for Boasi, and then Kweku Kwating, about how the state of the economy and how it's been run by not only the government of the day, but also the politicians of our time, would then have to be a stepping stone where everybody would need to come together to realize where we are and then try to look at the structure of this economy and realize that we need to cut our quota according to our size or only spend what we can. And what do you make of it, especially since he's a key member of the MPP just like you, very respected just like you as well?
I'm speaking to you today. This is an NDC day. But if NDC is successful, it's a Ghana day. So please, I'll remove some of the politics out of it. I know what has happened. We know that the very government that is supposed to hold this country together has become not just a Ponzi scheme, a criminal organization. They support themselves, they steal their money, they sell government properties. What have they not done? But we are not able to say. It has become a criminal organization led by the president. Because what is he doing? If he's not part of it, what is he doing? Why is he supervising this? And that the Attorney General, the Office of the Special Prosecutor wants to prosecute someone. The Attorney General is defending the person. What is going on here? That's what I'm talking about. The Attorney General wants to tell us that he doesn't know what is called money laundering. And so a person has the right to keep money at his or her house. I agree. Nobody says you can't keep money at home. But the quantum of money is what we are talking about. We are not saying we are coming to arrest you. Come and explain to us where you got the money from. Did you print it at home? Did you do what? Explain to us. That's all. And after you finish explaining, we are not taking the money. We are taking our taxes out of it. Now that is where the problem is. The moment you explain taxes, where did they come from? Who gave you that money? That person too, has he paid his taxes? On and on and on and on. This is how the whole world is done. We behave as if we've never heard of it before. And therefore, if it hasn't happened in Ghana, we cannot have precedents in order to prosecute someone. What nonsense. What nonsense. Utter nonsense. Is he a lawyer? He should come again. That's what I say. And so I know the situation we are in. the problems we have. It's a whole lot worse than we are talking about now. We don't know. When they are no longer in office, that's when we'll find out. A whole lot worse. And so please, somebody said cut your coat according to your size. Not just your size. It means you will not lose any weight. Tighten your belt. Slim down. That's what you do. President Muhammad said we chew the bone to the meat. We chew the meat to the bone. Now, we should know that we have chewed the bone itself. And it's still in our mouth. We have to spit it out. That's what we have to do. This is an emergency. No joke, nothing. And so please, I know it's good to help some people who are too low down there, to help them small. But don't bring the old sense of entitlement and this and that, free HS. Why are we doing free HS? You know how money, what you say is free. Parents say you will pay some of the parents will be able to pay something, and they want to pay because they know the situation all of us are in. There are other parents who cannot pay at all. Identify them and let them go for free. Is that difficult to do? We have to work harder. The government must be smarter than it is. You can't just wholesale do the same thing we've been doing. No, it won't work. There's no other way. It won't work. It grind to a halt. That's what I see. It's going to grind to a halt because the situation we are in is a lot worse than we are talking about.
All right. That said, and I see that you've also mentioned in terms of the means testing that needs to be done for some of the policies like free SHS, etc., so that we get the poor of the poor to benefit and those who can pay to pay. Does that mean that what confronts not only John Dramani Mahama, the rest of the candidates, including Alan Chamantin, is to make sure that they tailor-make the policies that are achievable? Do you see that in the refrain in terms of what John Dramani Mahama said over the weekend?
Well, yes, but I'm sure when he sees the real numbers, he changes his mind about certain things. No doubt at all, because it is dire, it is bad. We don't know it yet. So he's been out for 8 years, so he wouldn't know. But once he comes in and we present everything to him, he'll say, no, we have to change some things. We have to tighten our belt. Everybody must contribute. We chew the meat to the bone. Whose meat did we chew? Foreigners' meat. We have to pay back. If we chew the meat, who should pay? Outsiders? Who? Everybody must pay. All of us, we chewed it. So all of us must pay. Depends on who you are and where you are, that we are going to give you something to pay. Small. It's okay. You understand? So this idea of free, no free, no, none is in our vocabulary. It is an emergency. The children must go to school. They must eat. There is no food for the children already as it is. And we are going to do some free again? No.
So you are saying... So you are saying the vocabulary of what the policy proposition should be, including for John Dramani Mahama, nothing should be free. It should be measured.
Yes, that is what I'm saying. Making pay just a little bit. A human being must be responsible. You brought a child into the world and you don't pay anything. Why? You don't do it. You did it. And so no matter how small, that it creates responsibility. This is yours. It gives you pride. You've done something, not you brought a child into the world and go and sit under a tree. Somebody has to do it. No. You have to do it. It depends on how we say you should pay. You should pay. Everybody has to be responsible. Right? And so if the ordinary school fees is 500, you can pay. We will come to your house and find out how much money you need. This can even be done. There are so many students not having a job. Those who just finished school. National service. So put them to task. They will do all of it. They map it out. They will come to your house. Some people, they don't have to go to your house because they work for the government. You can identify them. Some work for themselves. That we have to interview them, interview their neighbors very quickly. And we can come very close to the reality. I'm not saying it will be 100% accurate. No, these people will always cheat.
All right.
We try hard.
All right. One of the big things that have become an issue, and we're transitioning to a second issue, is about the loss of money within the public sector framework through procurement deals, etc. And Eduji, one of the key issues that have been raised before the Office of the Special Prosecutor currently is a key allegation that has been raised by the North Tongue Member of Parliament, Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa, a company apparently giving a contract to supply in excess spare parts to ambulances that have been supplied and operated by the National Ambulance Service in excess of some $34 million. We're told in a letter, again, as part of the response by the Ministry of Health, that already $10 million has been paid to this company. And you look at where the trajectory is, the people involved, apparently is linked even to the daughter of the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. What do you make of the documentation that's already available in the public domain, with your own assessment preliminary on this?
The Honorable Dr. Makuba will help me. There is an account saying that Ore of one son, that was your one son.
Ore of one son,
one son. Today we are talking about ambulance, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. And the president's daughter and the boyfriend, Stephen Okoro, are the people behind this deal, correct? You see, growing up, what I've learned is that in this world, always be careful when you set out to hurt someone, because it may well just be closer home than you have imagined.
How do you mean?
Okay. So I have with me the company registration documents of a company by name I've isolated, Good Grow Limited. Now the directors of this company includes, but not limited to, Jankroma Akufo-Addo, Edwina Akufo-Addo. Now guess who the company secretary is? Stephen Okoro. This company was set up on August 2020, just when Jankroma's father, the president, was about to assent to the new narcotics law that allows for the growing of industrial herb. The daughter set up a company with the boyfriend, Stephen Okoro, to cash in. At least the father is not willing to sign on to the LGBTQ law, but is willing to sign on to the narcotic law because of the commercial benefit. Now, the secretary of name is who? Okoro. Now, this company called Service Ghana Auto Group Limited. First of all, we're given a contract to supply 307, ambulances at the cost of $54 million. The director of this company is no other person than Stephen Okoro, the boyfriend of Mr. Akufo-Addo's daughter. Now, the reason why today Akufo-Addo would award a contract amounting to $34 million, at least the statement from the Ministry of Health admits all these facts. And in fact, further says that only $10 million has been paid out of the 34. We know. We have never said the entire amount has been paid. And in fact, we want to encourage the good people of this country that we must find a way to retrieve the $10 million and stop the payment of the additional $24 million. As for the 54, it has already been paid. But you see, what is striking is that if you look at this gentleman by name Stephen Okoro, he ran most of the businesses with the president's daughters. I want to submit on this platform that if you read the Auditor General's report on this particular ambulance deal and the spare parts deal, the Auditor General makes a finding that they gave the contract for the repair job before the company was even incorporated.
Is he untoward?
Do you know what it means? That the whole thing was a setup just to divert public funds to the Akufo-Addo family. This is an Akufo-Addo who once accused John Mahama and the wife without providing evidence. This is Akufo-Addo who accused John Mahama of giving $10 million contract for the printing of presidential diary. He had been president for 7 years, 7 months, and there is no evidence to substantiate his claim. Today, this same man is giving this dubious contract to the daughter's boyfriend. I have no doubt in my mind that when we speak of nepotism, cronyism, this is all that we have been highlighting. That the dangers associated with nepotism is said that it brings corruption. And this Akufo-Addo corruption is unprecedented. We have never seen this type in the Fourth Republic, where the president and his family are directly involved in the plundering of state resources. I have never seen that before. I've seen Jerry Rawlings, I saw Kufuor, I saw Mills, I saw John Mahama. This type. And you see, the problem is not limited to Akufo-Addo and the daughters of the family alone. Bawumia, they say. Bawumia happens to be the chairman of the Ghana Armed Forces Council. At the time when he's the chair of the Ghana Armed Forces Council, his own biological brother is at the recipient of sole source contracts to, construct roads in Southern Command, Teshi, military barracks, among others. Beyond the contract he had gotten in Cocoa Board or sole source. Now, Bawumia and the family have gotten in excess of 200 million Ghana cedis of taxpayers' money. If not, on what moral authority will Bawumia even be campaigning to be the president of this
Because
republic?
he's the presidential candidate of the ruling.
No, that's the point I'm making. And I want to say.
Please, and let me go to.
Yes. Even the Bawumia candidature in and of itself is like a test of our national sanity. We have got.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
When I say it's a test of our national sanity, it's like Ghana for Sebio, Mojiana. How? We handed a vibrant economy into your hands. Instead of building people up, you have taken 61 billion of their interest and principal payments, and you still go on platform and tell them that I have done better. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, when in your life have you seen a government of Ghana borrow money from the citizens and wake up one morning to say,
Dr. Makoba, Dr. Makoba, are you on?
When have you seen that before?
Yeah, okay. So, what makes this quite interesting is that the Ministry of Health, in its press release, just dated the 25th of July 2024, which of course will be on the screens shortly, does acknowledge that this contract exists, but there was a clarification and says in point 1 that on September 10, 2020, the Ministry of Special Development Initiative signed a contract with Service Auto Group Ghana Limited for the provision of after-sales service and maintenance for 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinters. All right. Now, they subsequently go on the point, especially you go to point 7, that the Ministry of Finance, based on the Ministry of Health writing to the Ministry of Finance, requesting the establishment of letters of credit for the amount of $34,904,505 on behalf of Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for the procurement of the spare parts of these ambulances. They responded, that's the Ministry of Finance, that they could only fund up to $10 million. It goes on to clarify that whatever is being said in the public domain should not be construed to mean that the $34 million has been paid, but rather only $10 million. And the concern, based on the petition by the North Tongue Member of Parliament to the OSP, is that this company is linked to the president's daughter. What do you make of this? Dr. Makoba, you're an astute critic of our governance structure over the years. Indeed, since your return from the US, you've been doing that. What do you make of this? Also, as a leading member of the ruling MPP.
Well, I have to apologize to Ghanaians that I'm one of those who worked so hard to elect Akufo-Addo because he said all the right things. The battle is the Lord, so he got God, he made proof in it. The rest are all lies. This one too was a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. And it's very sad for you to take money from retirees and, in effect, give that money to your daughter and her boyfriend. That is what has happened. This money they gave to them, 10 million, is a lot of money. So let's don't make light of it, 10 million as if that is nothing. They know that they are not going to do anything. First of all, if you buy a new vehicle, you don't build a company to service it. You get warranty. So you could negotiate. The company that is selling this thing, you need our warranty. The cars are in Ghana, therefore you have to build a plant there to service the vehicle. Very simple. You don't go and borrow money to set that up. If you buy 54 million worth of vehicle ambulances, they have to come and set it up. So this is all false. This is falsehood. This is thievery. Very simple. Thievery. That's what it is. Thievery. You can't put it any other way. What service are you going to do to the new vehicles? When you buy a new vehicle, it breaks down. You don't service yourself. They give you warranty. And if you are buying from them, they will say there's no warranty on it. Then you don't buy it. Very simple. So this is not true at all. All of this is just nonsense. A way of stealing money for themselves, their children, their family members, all of them. This is what is sad. Let's not lose sight of it. The president signed the contract knowing this is what is happening, and then you can't run and come and tell a 70-year-old person who loaned you his last petrol that you can't pay. Oh, how are you able to pay 10 million to your daughter and her boyfriend? How are you able to do that? And you look people in the face and say, we can't pay. Aren't you ashamed? Aren't you ashamed? In some countries, in certain areas, the person who says he can't pay will not be allowed tomorrow to answer any further questions. Because this is thievery. This is wickedness. You understand? Your own senior citizens, they have worked all their lives, saved their little money, and then you come, I need money. The government needs money. It is his country. And so he responds, okay, I'll give it to you. How much you do pay me? Now, at the end of the contract, you are not able to pay. You say, take a haircut. He didn't say he needs a haircut. You may even kill him, cut his head, the whole head off and forget it. What haircut? What haircut? You promised to pay, now you say you won't pay. This is not Fancy Schemo. This is a criminal. All criminals who run Fancy Scheme are criminals. Because you start up ahead of time knowing that you are not going to pay, eventually you will run away. That is not a scheme that you are hoping to help someone. This is your scheme. It is not a right thing. It's a criminal offense. And that is what they've done. They've shared the money. They've shared the land. You name it. Look, how is it possible? One MP who becomes a deputy finance minister for a short time has $30 million in his account. And we don't say anything. What does the president say? How is that possible? Nothing. 30 million. How did he get 30 million? He didn't get it from IMF. No. They cut their own currency. They keep it in reserve. IMF money comes. They use that to exchange it, and then they take the dollars. This is what is going on. We are not fools.
Okay. Point made there, Dr. Makoban there. But again, we've been joined by former Director of Communications for the ruling party, also a former Member of Parliament for Adenta, very astute transparency and governance practitioner, as well as a lawyer before he entered into mainstream politics. Yabuabia someone with a movement for change. Good morning to you. What do you make of all that? We're talking about Mahama launching the campaign, some policy propositions it made, criticism of government, and then even 10 million out of a contract of $34.9 million for spare parts provision already paid to a company said linked to somebody who is very close to the president's daughter.
Good morning, Roland, and good morning.
I'm sure you got caught up in traffic. You are forgiven. Please go ahead.
I am so sorry, not only to your viewers, but to you yourself as a panel and my fellow panelists. I'm very, very sorry. I wish I had been on time. I mean, this topic, both topics are pregnant. But then let me quickly pick out one area in the NDC. I can't say for now whether it's a policy framework. It was described as a policy framework. Are they describing it as a policy framework themselves? Or it is a combination of intentions and aspirations? Anyway, in any event, I believe that since the GTP was launched in January.
That's a great transformational plan.
It was launched in January 2023. Many of the utterances coming from the two major parties look very similar to what we've delivered in the GTP, especially the private sector-led approach to government and the transformation agenda. But that they can pick it up. The question is whether they can implement it, and then the level of detail that comes with it. So let's, for example, look at the NDC framework. You have a frame 13. They say they will stop corruption. They will stop corruption, frame 13. And this is what they say: give anti-corruption state institutions unfettered space to operate. The days of the clearing agent must come to an end on January 7, 2025. That means it's innuendos. They are just slinging jabs at what they think would be politically correct for them. Then they go on to say, the second point, we shall wage a strong fight against corruption to reduce waste and save money for reinvestment in the economy. How are you going to wage that fight? If it's a framework, you must be able to tell us how you are going to wage that fight. Then he goes on to say that the sword of the fight against corruption will cut both ways. Against past government officials, officials of the incumbent administration, civil and public servants, businesses, government suppliers, etc., if they fall foul of the law. So now you are going to enforce existing law. Is that not the situation we are in and people are getting away with?
No.
So what we say is that the root cause of the corruption situation we have, the inability to effectively fight corruption, is because of the dispersed mandate of the institutions aiming to fight corruption and the lack of real independence for any particular institution to get to grips with the corruption problem without fear or favor. So on the first point, you have several institutions who say they are fighting corruption and who all complain that they don't have enough resources or mandate. And the clearest example of that is the recent situation with the Cecilia Dapa, Ioko, Attorney General, SFO. You remember? And Shraj was also sitting there with a mandate to fight corruption. We didn't hear a peep out of them over all this process. So who really has authority to fight corruption in the country? And that is why the Great Transformational Plan says that. Beyond that, somebody made, the second point is about the Office of the Special Prosecutor. It's, in a sense, one would have wished it was complete, but it's delegated authority, because it's the Attorney General who authorizes part of his authority to the Special Prosecutor to do prosecution of corruption-related crimes. But again, if you look at his involvement in the Yoko back and forth and his pronouncements, you realize that still there's a vestige of influence there.
Mr. Bob,
so the Great Transformational Plan is saying, the Great Transformational Plan is saying that, one, we need to consolidate all the dispersed mandates into one specific legislation.
To fight corruption.
To fight corruption. One specific legislation where you go to, the go-to legislation, and in that legislation, properly define corruption and put in all the things that are bothering us, the chronism, the nepotism, recently, Yoko said they couldn't even do a case against somebody because they couldn't define the situation as corruption. All those things must be properly defined so that you have a law that is about corruption. And it says that this is corruption.
So amalgamation of all.
The second thing is to vest it in an institution that is completely independent of interference.
It means that if Alan Chiromante should come with his alliance, we're going to have the scrapping of the OSP.
When Mr. Chiromante becomes president, it is clear in the Great Transformational Plan, when Mr. Chiromante becomes president, he is going to bring together all the laws on corruption in one legislation. And then he's going to establish an anti-corruption czar to manage that law. The anti-corruption czar will replace the special prosecutor in the sense that that czar is going to have constitutional authority to fight corruption. We are going to go into the constitution, amend it, and split the prosecutorial authority for corruption-related matters at constitutional level, and vest it in the anti-corruption czar, leaving the rest of the criminal area to the Attorney General, so that the Attorney General will have no hand at all. No authority, no executive authority, nothing will have a hand in how corruption is managed and prosecuted. So you have an all-powerful institution that can then truly fight corruption because it will not be beholden to any authority. It will not look behind it. And it will have certainty in what it regards as corruption. It will have certainty because it will know exactly by law, the law that sets it up, what it means to be corrupt in this country. What is corruption related? What we define as corruption. Okay. That is missing. Okay. So if you have a framework that simply talks about it doesn't work. But the second thing about this 24...
Please be mindful of the mic.
The second thing about this 34 million thing, again, it's corruption related and otherwise, but the issue of procurement. Procurement is a disaster in this country. It's been the bane of our public...
Even though we have a law.
The law tried to manage it, but the collusion, the insider dealing, as far as public procurement is concerned, is what we must look at. We believe, under Mr. Chematin's policy, that the procurement law...
Why is it that Alan Chematin, the Movement for Change and the Alliance, then don't come together with the rest of the opposition parties to try to say that, look, we need to reset some of these structures because we, based on the latest Afrobarometer survey, don't want a military dictatorship. We want this democracy to work. The constitution is there, etc. And everybody needs to come together to make sure this works. Because Dr. Amwakoba is also on the other side. Haven't left the US to come and live in Ghana, and all these years contributing to not only politics, anti-governance or anti-corruption, etc. Wants the better of our country.
Roland.
Yes, sir.
Let us not let us not puff up the people who talk about military intervention. Please.
Yes.
Let us
abandon... It's a survey. I'm only telling you the survey report.
Let us abandon that conversation.
So
yes,
answer my question.
The survey says
you all want to say that you want the country right. I'm saying that why is that you all don't come together?
Yeah, come together in what sense? Politically?
Sure.
Somebody must lead.
Okay.
Is the NDC prepared to concede leadership to Mr. Chematin? Okay. Because obviously, John Mahama doesn't have the capacity and the ability to lead this nation. So how do you come together? You come together where your ideas dominate. And currently, the Great Transformational Plan is the only plan that has cogent plans and it's able, that has cogent policies and will dominate the discourse going forward. That's why both parties
So it makes you the only party and alliance that had come out from the last year
together.
With your
alliance.
manifesto.
We are talking alliance. Already we are bringing them together, like-minded persons.
Dr. Mwakuba. Dr. Makuba.
But he's had the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Makuba. So we have to, and our time is up.
Eduji has been speaking for years.
Just 30 seconds.
Yes. I gave you the opportunity.
Eduji, I'm told that you've been speaking for years. Not that I'm told. I also witnessed you speaking for years.
I want
just a minute.
Yes,
just a minute.
I want to make the point that H.E. John Dramani Mahama is never going to debate, right, what you call a Chinese mobile phone dealer from Wadawali. You won't do that. His focus...
Who are you calling a Chinese mobile phone dealer?
Please.
Okay.
His focus on the things that matter to Ghanaians, cost of electricity, cost of petrol, household items. These are his focus. If anybody wants a debate, the person should go to Sangba and continue the debate there.
Okay. Your last word, sir.
The important thing for the youth of this country is that the bottom line is transformation. Look at the leaders who are offering themselves. Look at their records. Take time. Ignore this business about instability and military. It's not the solution. The solution is to have a leader who has the vision, the competence, the ability, the capacity to actually change your future. So now, Be more discerning, be more focused. Apathy is not an option. Not voting is not an option. Staying in your room is not an option. Come out, but come out qualitatively. Vote for the right person, and the right person is Alan Chematin. He has the solution. I didn't speak. You've been speaking for 1 year. I just came in.
You are here
5 minutes ago, and you are panicking. 5 minutes ago, you are panicking.
I'll tell you about Dewa.
5 minutes ago, you are panicking.
I'll tell you about Dewa very soon. Dr. Makuba, thank you very much. The distinguished Yabuabia Samoa, thank you very much. And then also Eduji Tamaklo.
Let me sincerely apologize.
Yeah,
9 out of 10 Ghanaians believe
all right,
Ghana is great in
so let me read a couple of the messages that I have. I have from landlord Borga D-Line a message that says Ghana is at a crossroad and the agenda to reset Ghana is a national duty. Landlord Borga D-Line. Master Planner Junior Kintampo. Women's Development Bank, Common Maslock monies, NCD shared and chopped among themselves. When the Kantamanto market women lost their property as a result of fire outbreak, the monies that were supposed to be given them as support were shared by the CEO and the workers. Now we'll continue.
Akufado's daughter is making money and you are sending
and then,
messages.
Musa Abatwa says, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's track record is marked by a consistent pattern of peddling unattainable policies and falsehoods which undermine the trust in his leadership. He is a walking contradiction. He's supposed to be an economic messiah, now parading himself in credit scoring. What a sad reality. Haj Kupsin Kapsin, the economic wizkid and the digital man, has now become a phone dealer. We have to be circumspect in the choices we make. Number Sampi Yali says, I wake up every day to this, and today, again, is a testament that the right choice has to be made come December. Osai Boating from Inshaiso in Kumasi says, Nana Dodankwe Kufado and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia are those who can reset the current structure of the economy. Remember, we have been affected by COVID and following that, Russia and Ukraine. So that does not need to be lost on Ghanaians. And then Mr. Tebi says, MPP looting. Look at this contract of ambulance supplies, 34 million and already $10 million paid. Felicia Abani, you have pushed Richard Amwakuba, and that is a very good thing to do. We should always hold leaders accountable. Money need money, as I should ask Eduji, when will the NDC prosecute the death of Akufo-Addo for us, he says. And then we have other messages as well. A last one that I'll take a look at is this one, Blueprint, writing from Isikado Kitan and Baron Kofi Nyakum, aka Blueprint, says the NDC haven't launched their campaign and all, tells every Ghanaian that all is not well, simply because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has caused a deep wound and incursion in their backyard. And says good morning to Charles Bissio, who is also vying for Isikado Kitan parliamentary candidacy. Thank you very much for passing through. But let me tell you about you stepping into the world of Dewa 539 for your chance to win big with Dewa Direct and Dewa Chop Money. With Dewa Direct, all you need to do is to make sure you dial *446#. You pick the range of the numbers 1 to 39. You get to win big 20 times your stake, 40 times your stake, and 400 times your stake. And you get to win cash also every evening at 7 p.m. and on Sundays at 6 p.m. Early bets love Dewa Chop Money also, and that is at 10 a.m. by also dialing *446#. Again, you choose the range of the numbers 1 to 39, and you get to win big 20 times your stake, 40 times your stake, 400 times your stake. You can play online, very easy, easy peasy. So you go to dewa-nle.com or the alternative dialing *446#. In case you need some customer service interaction, some clarification, you call the number 055-6259-249. Again, we have to tell you we have Community Manifesto. We are going to the Ewutu Senyais constituency, and Bella Mundi will bring you that great conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.